This is the second child your wife has had with the neighbor, John, because he promised to pay you $15,000 for every child she bore. You look at the dark-skinned baby and feel a surge of anger. Not because your wife has been reduced to a breeding machine, but because you're making $350,000 a year, and yet you have no savings and mountains of debt. Then John shows up again, going into the bedroom where you sleep. The sounds of their moans hit your ears like a hammer. And you finally lose it, running out into the pouring rain. You can't understand where it all went wrong. Your financial advisor told you your finances were solid. You've been following the frugality plan every single day, but you check your banking app and see only $800 left. You cover your face and cry in the rain like a child. This isn't a made-up story. This is happening in small-town households across Texas. In the U.S., 38% of families have strong incomes, yet wealth accumulation feels as if it's been stolen. The high cost of living acts like a slow-acting poison, slowly eating away at your bank account. By the time you realize it, you're riddled with holes. Now I'm going to shatter your assumptions and show you the real culprit behind it all. If you've been grinding in an expensive city, telling yourself the cost is worth it for opportunity, culture, and connections, it's time to confront an uncomfortable question. So far, what exactly has that price bought you? This part should make you uneasy. Stanford economist Nick Bloom notes 28% of workdays are done from home. Since 2019, remote jobs have skyrocketed over 500%. Tech, finance, consulting, marketing, design, writing, project management, the entire knowledge economy has broken free from geography. The old assumption that you must go into an office, the location-based thinking your parents relied on is collapsing in real time. Yet millions are still paying the outdated cost. Every month, they surrender a geographic premium to an economy that no longer checks your zip code. This isn't a discipline issue, and it isn't about effort. It's about recognizing the variable in your financial life, with the biggest leverage, and actually pulling it. Thousands of ordinary workers have done the math and moved. Accountants, developers, consultants whose names you'll never hear on a podcast. They aren't poor, and they aren't struggling. They live well in cities with real culture and infrastructure, saving every month more than most people in Mexico City do in a quarter. So the question isn't whether you can afford to move, it's whether you can honestly calculate the cost of staying put and face that number without flinching. Before you open a spreadsheet, there's one number no one will ever tell you, but it could completely change your answer. 10 years from now, you're still in the same apartment. Rent up 30%, scrolling through vacation photos you almost booked. Your savings account looks about the same as today. Adjusted for inflation, it's actually worse. You can't pinpoint a single moment it all went wrong because there wasn't one. Every month you missed a calculation that could have changed everything. Once that ratio stares back at you, do one more thing. Look up rent prices in a city you've never seriously considered. Any city will do. Just write that rent beneath your current one. Now you have a gap, a monthly dollar amount quietly siphoned by geography. You don't need a financial advisor, you just need a phone and the courage to look. The next step is boring. Tomorrow at lunch, text your manager or HR. Ask if your role has ever been discussed for remote or hybrid work. You're not resigning or threatening, you're just asking a question that costs nothing, but could open a door you thought was welded shut. Most people don't ask because imagining a different life feels harder than slowly overpaying for the one they're in. But a question isn't a commitment, it's a crack in the inertia wall. If you want to go further, multiply your current monthly savings by 12 and compound it for 10 years at 8%. Then do the same calculation assuming your rent matched that cheaper city. The difference isn't abstract, it's a car, or a down payment, 3 years of financial freedom, or anything you actually value. You can do this prediction in 5 minutes with a calculator, but it will sit heavy in your mind for days. That discomfort is a decision demanding action, not procrastination. None of this requires packing up or breaking a lease. Just a phone note, a search bar, an awkward email, and a calculator, 4 tiny actions, but that's exactly why they work. The system that overcharges you depends on you never doing the math. Once you see the numbers, you can't unsee them, and that's where leverage starts. Now the real question, once you have those numbers, do they really compound into life-changing outcomes? Or do they just sit in a note you never open again? Here's the truth, no one's sugarcoating this. Nothing you've heard is a promise that moving will make you rich. It won't. Wealth isn't a destination you reach by changing your zip code, just like it isn't reached by buying the right stock on a Tuesday afternoon. Geography's only job is to buy you breathing room.